Hello, you are welcome to another episode of Movie Dissect. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the movie Jagun Jagun. Wow! Have you seen Jagun Jagun? It's the story of a school for warriors. And the proprietor of that school is revered and feared by all the communities around. Why? Because the kings of those communities depend on him to secure their territories. Now, a young man who wants to revenge the death of his family and the extinction of his entire community comes to this school to learn how to become a warrior. It's a story of love, betrayal, loyalty, and all the works, all the themes that you know about. But what I am most proud of is that it's an African story set in Africa, directed and produced by Africans, and it did not disappoint in any way. Yes, I am saying it. It is the first Yoruba movie that I'm watching that I enjoyed totally without thinking about the fact that they were actually speaking Yoruba from beginning to end. I don't know how I did it, but you must have had the experience where you are enjoying something so well that you're watching the screen and reading the subtitle at the same time, and you are almost in a realm where it's like you now understand the language they are speaking, even if you're actually reading the subtitles. Jagun Jagun was directed by Femi Adebayo and Adebayo Tijani. Both of them also wrote the story. Wow, interesting. Guys, this movie was star-studded. When you talk about Yoruba actors, star actors, they were inside this one. Femi Adebayo did not manage anything. He gave it to everybody. Full swing. The main cast, we had Lateef Adedimeji, you have Odulade Adekola, Fetia Balogun, Bukumi Oluwashina, and a lot more. In fact, Macaroni was there. It's like this guy is always in these Yoruba movies now. Is he still a comedian, skit maker, or actor? Anyone, anywhere where the money they come from. Anyways, we're talking Jagun Jagun, and when we come back, I'm going to be reviewing this movie using the 7 parameters. See ya. Welcome back to this review of Jagun Jagun, a movie directed and produced by Femi Adebayo and Adebayo Tijani. I've shared a brief about the story already. Now, we're going to rate it using my 7 parameters. First, the plot, the storyline. It was a good story. Like I said earlier, it follows the general theme of love, betrayal, loyalty, right? And for me, I think it was overstretched. At the beginning, in trying to set the story as the movie went on, I felt, okay, what's this movie about? Is it going to be about this warrior, the trainer, right, the school? Or is it going to be about the kings? So what is this story going to be about? It started making sense for me when the character played by Lateef Adedimeji began to show some of his skills and began to be prominent, or fell in love with the presumed daughter of the school proprietor, not the proprietor, the owner of the whole school, which was played by this guy, Femi Adebayo himself. Very, very, so the story was cool, storyline, but I think it was overstretched. It should have been a short, tight, sweet, and hit it at the nail. I think it would have been more interesting that way. But even with the way it was, man, I enjoyed the story. Now, dialogue. I mentioned earlier that it is the first Yoruba movie that I'm watching, and didn't really feel like I was watching a movie in a language that wasn't my first language, right? Why? The dialogue was interesting, was kind of poetic. It was like everything that was said was from the line of a poem. There was this beautiful way, oratory of all the actors. I think maybe it's because it was done in the local dialect, right? That added value and added richness, right? Beauty to the film in the entirety of it, and I really enjoyed that. So dialogue was really good. They use a lot of, I think, for those who understand Yoruba, they use a lot of proverbs. They use a lot of chants that maybe Yoruba speaking people will be quite conversant with, and I think it was really good. Let's move to sound design. I was opportune to see a clip from the behind the scene of where the sound design guys, right? Anthill Studios, kudos to them, man. They did a good job post-production on this project. And I saw clips of where they were trying to recreate some sound. Especially, for instance, when the soldiers were fighting, the grass, you know, they were in the bush, right? And the sound of leaves, people stepping on leaves and all that. These guys actually carried sand and leaf to studio and tried to make those sound and recorded it. That's how far they went for quality of sound on this production. Kudos to them. They did a very good job. I enjoyed the sound. I enjoyed the soundtracks used in every scene. The sound of the swords or the knives that were being fought with, the everything, like you could it was as if you were inside a movie theater, like in cinema, with all the sound effects hitting your ears at the same time. Kudos to the sound design team. They did a very great job. Now let's move to costume. In my opinion, costume was great. That's why me too, I tried to wear something that looks like what some of the people in Jagun were wearing today, right? Costume was good, but there are opinions, there are school of thought that say some of the attires were not used in the era which this movie was set, blah blah blah. That's for the experts. So me, I don't know about that era and the kind of clothing that they were wearing at that time. But using this movie and using this story to showcase the rich culture or the attire, the adire attire, there's this other attire, the ashoke. I think it was a great opportunity and it was used well. The colors were popping and I really enjoyed it. The set was, I was told, I saw in the behind the scenes, sorry, that the set was built. So that village where the school was and some other scenes that you saw were actually built from scratch. And I think Nigerian producers are now going more like going a step further to try and make things more realistic and create sets so that people can enjoy the story that they're trying to tell. Okay, that's for costume. Cinematography, you don't want to go there. Cinematography was perfect. God, these guys did a good job. And to think that 100% of this crew were Nigerians, like there was no external Oyibo person in this, man, it makes me proud. So cinematography was really nice. Like the effects, the VFX was sweet. Untitled Studios was on this one, and man, you cannot expect anything less. I'm so proud of the production crew. They did a very good job, and it showed that they went the extra mile to make sure that they brought quality for Nigerians to enjoy, and they did that. So I particularly like the effects for Agemo, the masquerade. They usually joins the soldiers when they have to fight a battle. Man, that was really cool. Now let's talk about acting. The actors brought their A game on this project. Lateef Adedimeji, who was like the major character in my opinion, he gave it his all. It was obvious. He has a way of interpreting characters and making sure he delivers that to the audience, and he did that perfectly in Jagun. You should actually go watch this one. It was a beautiful one. I really liked the acting. It was the first time I was really seeing um, what's her name, Oluwashino on the project, and I really enjoyed her acting too. Every other actor, like I said earlier, it was a star-studded movie, so you cannot expect anything less from these guys. Let's move on to editing. Editing was done well, of course. My people at Anthill Studios, right? They did a great job, and I really enjoyed it. I think you can also talk about the effects, right, in editing, because I'm sure they did a lot of work, post-production work on this project, and it was obvious. The quality came out beautifully. And from the reviews online, you can see that people actually enjoyed this one. I would not leave this review without talking about the stunt director or stunt coordinator. The fights felt so real. Like it was like you were watching a Chinese or a Japanese movie, right? The stunts director did a very good job. And I think you can't even get anything less when you spend over 45 days in training for a particular movie. Man, you have to get the best from your actors, right? So kudos to production, crew, kudos to the producer, director, and everyone who was on this project. Jagu Jagu is a movie that we're very proud of on Movie Dissect. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Movie Dissect. I hope you have enjoyed this review. If you have not seen this movie, Jagun Jagun, you could check it out on Netflix. If there's any movie you want us to review, please do not hesitate to drop it in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. See you next time. Bye.